Hello, everybody. Welcome to another little discussion Deducter and I are having. Deducter is a fellow Battle Brothers player, and a good one at that. Deducter, do you want to introduce yourself?
Uh, Thank you for that introduction. Like Carverhood said, I'm also a Battle Brothers player. I have a YouTube channel. I recently completed a series with the Beast Slayer's origin and no mods. And the notable thing is, first of all, I made a character named Geralt, and he looks like Geralt, and from the Witcher games. And second of all, as the challenge, I ran around after day 100 to fight camps without buying food or tools from civilization. I fought about 50 something camps. I could keep going basically forever, but I think that was a good place to call the campaign.
Yeah, that was very impressive watching those fights. Not sure I would be able to do that myself. But today.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I saw your video on that 22 barbarian fight,
Now,
which
that
I
was that
thought
was a
was
hell of a fight. That was scary.
a really, really well done battle. I mean, those were tough enemies. And you
Hmm.
didn't have like a fully maxed out level 11 team, but they were strong. Like there were a lot of strong characters.
Yeah.
But still, I think you just excellent decision making. Like you did pretty much everything correctly, and you got out of the fight with like a few minor injuries, maybe.
Yeah, some
Uh,
throwing weapons. I think this segues well into what we're talking about. Is that campaign I made it as like a test just for some video, and then I decided to just keep playing with it. So that was a new early game experience. Doing the second challenge run, which I know you've seen a little bit of, and then I did the tournament on with Puggo, and so that's early game as well. So I've been doing a lot of early game recently, and my playstyle has definitely adapted since what it was even 2 months ago or 3 months ago. So I thought now is a really great time for myself because I'm on, just kind of on my mind, and I believe it's well for you to talk about early game and how, I don't know, survive and thrive is a little motto you can come up with. Just how to better make the early game uh, workable, how to make it, less hard, because a lot of people in this game probably make it to like Crisis 1 and then that's game for them. So they do a lot of early game stuff. They don't really make it to 200, 300 plus.
All right, although I think there's a bit of a curve. Like when you start out, you can't get past the first crisis. Then you know how to beat all the crises and get to day 200.
Hmm.
Then after that, you get bored after like day 100.
Yes,
So
yeah.
there's a curve to
Hmm.
it.
So, just in my experience, I'm sure you're probably aware. People who watch me are definitely aware that I use a lot of adrenaline in my early game, and that has led me to play pretty hyper aggressive in my early game. Yeah, adrenaline has got me to be hyper aggressive, and you commented on the brigand, and you know the brigand fight I'm talking about, where that leads to some rash decision making. And I know you are a champion of conservative play, so I'd like to know how you like to manage your early game fights. If you
I
could just
do
kind of
think that,
outline there.
well, first of all, I do think adrenaline is very good, but in many cases, you can achieve the same effect just by being careful with initiative. So you can invest that perk point to something else. Like, I think fast adaptation is extremely strong early game since it helps you hit when your brothers cannot hit anything.
Very true.
But to prepare for this video, I was just playing around. I did some early game fights on a new campaign. The first fight, I did just the basic standard origin, like what is it called, like a new company
New
or
company,
whatever.
yeah.
Yep, you get the usual companions, and you get at least on low starting funds, 1900 gold to spend.
Mm-hmm.
And you always start near a big town, which is nice. But
Yes.
anyway, I did that start. The first fight was the usual 7 thug fight. I think I had 7 guys. And I played my usual very slow and careful, methodical way. And I got out of that fight with no injuries of any type. I think there was some minor hit point damage, and I looted one of the armors. I had 3 knives. No, I had 2 knives, 1 dagger, 2 spears, a crossbow, and a pitchfork. Those were my weapons. armor. The best armor was like a 80 leather armor I picked up
Hmm.
because it was cheap at the market, and everyone else had worse. There were some frontline guys with like 30 armor.
The
So it
famed
was not
30
a
male.
Yep, it wasn't a great lineup, but I still got out of that fight very well. The next seven thug fight, I couldn't like pay attention anymore. I was just tired, like
Hmm.
I exhausted all my energies. In the first fight, I was objectively stronger. I had better armor. I hired another guy. I had more weapons. I don't know if I had another spear, but I think I upgraded some of the knives and daggers. And anyway, I definitely had better gear, more men. Like it was the same seven thugs. And
Hmm.
this time around, because my tactics were worse, one of my starting bros almost died. Like the good one, the good companion with a 2-star
Oh
melee
yeah.
attack. Almost died. He was one hit away from death. I think I took like one other injury. Many armors were shredded. Like um, and it was like the same seven thugs, even though I was objectively stronger. And the only difference, was how closely I paid attention, like in that battle, how much I planned for it. I felt like the second fight, I was clicking buttons a lot rather than actually planning things out. So, the most decisive factor above anything else is not luck, is not gear, it is not anything except pay attention.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm definitely victim of going on autopilot when I see thugs, because thugs are the easiest enemy in the game, hands down.
they are.
They just run at you. One thing I would say is I think for almost probably 9 out of 10 early game fights, you should not fight where you start unless you start on like really good high ground or something. I think you should always try and fall back, find a choke point, find some sort of high ground, even if it's just like 2 or 3 little hills. Use that because when enemies don't have range characters, if it's just like 7 thugs, they will run at you and they will chase you. So you can just kite them backwards until you find a good position, or at least a position as good as where you started, and then they'll fight. You can fight there. And sometimes they'll come in staggered, so you can maybe not fight 7 at once. You can maybe fight like 3, and the last 4 are a little far behind. And coming in piecemeal is a great way to start winning those fights because you can like 5 on 2, and then 5 on the other 5, or maybe 5 on 3, and then 5 on the last 2, and that's a great way to do these fights.
I agree. I often, almost always, fall back to try to take advantage of some sort of terrain, whether it be a blocker or high ground. That's what I did not do in the second of my fights. Like, did not try to do that. There was a little hill that's like, oh, I can take this little hill. I can actually get the elevation with one of my guys against one of their guys. That was the only advantage I had. But otherwise, it was a line battle. It was like my guys line up against theirs, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't manage to split them off or force them to waste their AP moving around or anything like that. And like that one little elevation barely even mattered. So, but like elevation does matter, but in a more subtle way. It's not like thugs will very, very rarely actually go on the low ground against you. What they'll do is they'll wait around like one hex away, and then before deciding to commit or not.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use elevation like that, sort of as well. One, you could put a crossbow guy up there,
Mm-hmm.
like the starting crossbow guy, or two, you put a guy up there to just like delay them
Mm-hmm.
and force the thugs to waste your time. They're not going to actually engage you. That's actually hard to do, but you can force them to like maneuver around the hill while you engage another part of their line.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you watch my Beast Slayer series, the second thug fight, I think it was in the might have been in the first episode, but I think it was in the second episode, showed exactly that scenario where there was exactly one little hill. I took the little hill, but I didn't actually fight anyone on the hill. I just forced them to move around uh, by using that hill to like split their men.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the early game crossbow guy, and that's something I wanted to bring up. Is what's your opinion on early game ranged characters? I'm personally not much of a fan. I think if someone's got less than 60 ranged attack, they're pretty useless, and I usually would give them a pike
I agree. Like
or a pitchfork at that point.
I agree that it's not good, but I literally didn't have another weapon, so
Yeah, it's better than
I
definitely
had to
better than
choose.
nothing. But
But if I had a pike, like if the choice is between like a pike or even a pitchfork and the crossbow, yeah, I'd probably use the pitchfork. I might have the crossbow out just to get that shot loaded. You could shoot, switch, and next turn stab away with the pike.
mm-hmm.
Um, but I agree. Like it's not good. There might be some potential in throwing weapons if you get a guy with somehow like 50 range attack, 2 tiles away with throwing weapon. That's not bad. Like the big thing is you get a plus 20% bonus, but the bigger thing is you get to throw twice.
Yes.
Like 2 attacks are almost always so much better than 1 attack.
Yeah.
That there might be some potential in range weapons, but yes, I would go away from the bow, assuming I can find a weapon in like a timely fashion. But often, like the first, 3 or 4 fights, you can't even find another weapon, so you have no choice.
Yeah. I think one way to think about it is, so there's different tiers of bows. There's the short bow, the hunting bow, and the war bow. You obviously don't have a war bow. You probably start with the short bow, maybe you can buy a hunting bow. But throwing weapons are the same throughout the entire game. So the throwing weapon does good damage on day 1, just like it does on late game, whereas the short bow sucks, and the war bow is really good. So by using throwing weapons, 1, you're at closer range, which means you do more damage and have higher accuracy, and 2, you're using a weapon that's base damage is just inherently higher, because it's supposed to be used late game as well, especially if you get barbarian throwing weapons.
Right, but you're probably not getting those on day 3.
Maybe if you're really ballsy. Depends on where you are, but yeah.
You lure some reavers into like some nobles or something. I
Yeah.
would never fight reavers with brigand thug gear. Never. That's
No.
suicide.
Even thralls are kind of scary. I think the best place to start is like in the steppe area, like right above the south, because the nomads are harder than the thugs, but thugs are really easy, and you're not near barbarians in the slightest. And I think barbarians are just going to most easily able to wipe your run in the first days.
Right. In the early game, the difficulty I think goes the thugs, then the cutthroats, which I think are barely above the thugs.
Only because they can pocket sand. That's the only
I don't
reason.
pocket sand. I love pocket sand. Like, let them pocket sand me. They're spending a turn not attacking. How is that not good? Like, it's so good.
If you know how to play against it, it's really good. But if you I think if you let them pocket sand your entire team, that can be a problem. But that's like marginally an issue, I think.
I find it to be a very marginal issue. I would love it if they like pocket sand and attacked once, like every single thing. That would be the super ideal scenario. Like, I would take that over the double grip thugs who attack twice any day. Not even close in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather have one attack and a puny debuff that doesn't do anything.
Well, it's like minus 25% damage or something. That's pretty substantial.
So they're doing minus 50%. Okay, so I'll take their minus 50% damage debuff so that they can inflict a guaranteed minus 25% debuff on me. Like,
yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm just saying I wouldn't call that. I guess when you think about it of them not doing an attack, yeah. I guess the thing is, pocket sand is 3 AP, so they can. There are times when they can't attack, but they can pocket sand you, which is when it 4 becomes an actual debuff on you.
True, they could. I haven't fought against those nomad cutthroats enough in the early game to remember their AI pattern. I don't know if they will move up 3 and pocket sand you or not. But if they do that, I'll admit that does sound annoying.
Yeah. What do you think about contracts in the early game? You know, you hear people all the time saying avoid beast contracts or avoid caravan contracts, or only take return the crystal skull. But I found that you can probably do most contracts. I think caravans are probably your hardest, just because you don't know what you're getting.
Pretty much everything, except caravans, but it's not for the reason you think. It's because they take too long.
They take a while, and they can go somewhere you don't want to go. Like, they'll go to some, middle of nowhere village, and it's just, out of the way.
Right. Yeah, they could go somewhere you don't want to go, or sometimes you can get ambushed by pretty nasty enemies. So here are some things about caravan missions. Number 1, If the caravan reaches the destination, the town gets the well-supplied buff. What that means is every single trade good in the town regenerates. So you get like a new set of tools, a new set of the basic trade goods like furs or salt or whatever the town produces. So if it's going to a small town that produces goods, it'll regenerate all the goods and they're cheaper. And that could be a really profitable scenario. You
Mm-hmm.
buy those cheap goods and you sell at a big town. Like the caravan mission itself doesn't pay much, but you can get bonuses out of it.
And same with
The
the
next,
named weapons. Is that what you're gonna say next?
well, that's not an early game
I
thing,
guess
but
I
late
guess so.
game,
Yeah.
you could use that to fish for weapons. I assume we're just talking early game.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The next thing about caravan missions is when you take one, I think the way the game works is it spawns a hostile party to attack you. But a lot of times the problem is you get attacked like many times, up to like 4 or 5 times or more. And why do you get attacked so much? The reason is there are wandering mobs around wandering parties around the map. If they think they're stronger than you, they will attack you. And at that point, pretty much anything is stronger than you. So how do you not run into those enemies? They have to come from somewhere. Like those enemies have to come from camps. They don't just like randomly appear. So in maybe like the first 10, let's say 20 days, if there's an area of the map that you've sort of cleared out, like you've done some contracts, busted a few camps around, like it's pretty cleared up. And then if you get a caravan mission between towns where it's like you've already done contracts around and killed some camps, it is basically safe. You might get that one party that spawns, or if it's a super long caravan, I think it could spawn several. But I never do like the 3 day caravans; they take too long. It's not
Mm-hmm.
even about like whether I can do it or not. I'm not gonna waste. It's actually not 3 days. It's like 4 or 5 days. Like they say 3 days, but it's longer than that. Like, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna waste 4 days doing one contract.
I'm not
So
gonna
if
waste a real
I
lifetime doing that.
yeah, so it's gonna be like, uh, if I do contracts, it's gonna be like one town or maybe at most 2 towns over. So if that area is clear, you won't have that problem of being attacked by like 4 or 5 different parties. So I think almost nobody knows about that particular trick.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could probably work that out in my own head, but I wouldn't have been able to say it so clearly. I don't know what it is. I feel like every time I get a caravan mission that gives me heads per kill, I don't get a fight, and every time that I don't get heads per kill, I always get multiple fights. Maybe that's
I
just the game screwing me over. I don't know.
I think that's selective memory.
Yeah, it probably is, but it feels like that.
Unless you have a or unless you have let's say a company that's in the mid game, they all have nimbo and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You should be very wary of those caravan missions into a part of the map you haven't explored or haven't seen because you haven't killed the camps there. Who knows how many roaming parties
Mm-hmm.
there are?
Yeah.
And if you do accept one of those contracts, unfortunately, you just may have to like abandon it. There's no like, it's just too high of a risk.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not much you can really your company is worth more than the one contract. So it's not a problem to just run away if you see an orc berserker or something. It's better to just live and tell the tale. I think
Right.
deliver cargo contracts are a little scary because there's like a 15% chance you get mercenaries, and then you obviously can't really. You could try your luck against mercenaries on day 5. I recommend actually fighting mercenaries as early as you can, but you can't really prepare for it on a contract like that.
And those things actually spawn day 5? I don't know or not. I know about the chance of getting mercenaries, which like mid game is really good. That's what you want. But I don't like a lot of contracts early on. You can't spawn the really bad stuff in my experience.
Maybe because
So
they
I
only give
don't.
you 1 star. Maybe 1 star contracts can't, and since early game it's only 1 star contracts, therefore you don't get them. But I know
Right.
like mercenaries themselves spawn that early, so you could just fight them on your own.
I have never fought mercenaries in day 5. Anybody who does that, they just like save scum them together. So, dude, that's it. Like I can tell you right now, there's no like tactic to beat them consistently. You just got lucky. That's what you want to do. You want to restart over and over again until you can do it. Fine, but to me, that's not interesting.
it's a very risky play. I guess if you're like a 45 minutes into the campaign, you don't have much to lose. Like, you've gotten 5 guys. It's day 3. Maybe you could try a couple of mercenaries and dogs, but it's definitely it's definitely a situation that helps the save loader or save scummer over the Iron Man player.
Right. I have no interest whatsoever in re-rolling starts to like get a really strong start. I've played maybe 8 campaigns. Like literally, I clicked a new game like 8 or 10 times total since the Blazing Deserts. Most of those were short campaigns to test certain things out. Like just played one recently to because we're talking about early game, we want to play some early game, right?
Mm.
But since that Beast Slayers campaign, I just haven't played Battle Brothers, and even between those campaigns, I I think is I personally don't enjoy rerolling starts because I don't have that much time, and I would rather like focus on playing one campaign well.
Yeah,
I think the difference between say getting mercenary gear at day 5. Let's just not even include that. Let's say the difference between getting raider gear at day 5, which is more realistic,
yeah.
versus day 10 is not really that significant in the long.
No, but it certainly helps. I think if you can get like good mercenary gear before day like 20 or something, like that's huge. You could probably find a group of like 5 mercenaries or whatever, and you could probably gank them. And
I'm not saying the gear isn't good. Like it would clearly be very strong. It's just if you watch like my series 7, 8, and 9
mm-hmm.
on Battle Brothers, I think almost every single one of those fights, I was 100% sure I would win. There's maybe one or two where I consider it a personal mistake to do a fight that I would not win 100% of the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way I could beat day 5 mercenaries 100%. It's just like, I don't know what the percent is, but it's definitely not 100.
Yeah.
And so I am very conservative in that sense. I only take fights that I'm 100% sure I will win unless I made a mistake, which sometimes happens.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, like I will fight pretty much anything.
What is your opinion on using bros' lives to win fights?
Oh, I do that all the time.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't care about their lives. Let me rephrase
Spoken
that.
like a true veteran.
It's still bad to get your guys killed off too much early game. They still cost like 100, 200 crowns higher. That's money. Like, I would certainly prefer that they don't die. And you can't be losing bros, even the fodders, like every fight. Like, you can't be losing fodders against, 2 fodders against 7 thugs.
Yeah.
You run out of fodder at that rate.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be a little careful. But in tough fights, I don't care about the fodders at all. So like if you're day 5, you're fighting like 6 raiders and you have 6 guys, or well, no, that's pretty suicidal. I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I would want like 9 guys. Let's say you had 9 guys against 6 raiders.
Mm-hmm.
If I lose 2 guys there, not a big deal as long as they're the right 2 guys.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you designate your fodder? I mean, I guess pretty obvious. No melee stars, no melee defense stars, and rolled 47 on attack. That's a fodder. But how do you like use that as a role? Like, how do you identify and then use them in battle?
I don't have any fixed builds, but the general rule is I will give them fast adaptation so they can hit and kill something.
Mm-hmm.
On occasion, if they have really good initiative, the next perk, assuming they survive that long, is dodge.
Mm-hmm.
It just gives them such ridiculous amount of defenses for one perk. Like,
Yeah.
and then some fodder, maybe the ones with a little more hit points, a little more defense. I might give them a Colossus gifted type line so that they can survive one more hit. That could have some value, and then rotation. I used to build that type of fodder a lot, but I've been liking the fast adaptation more and more so they can kill faster. Like, I think you're right. Aggression is the way to go, not just early game, but pretty much at all phases of Battle Brothers. But it's about careful, controlled aggression, not like all out, uncontrolled aggression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've never really been one for fast adaptation. I think adrenaline actually works on fodder as well, because it gives I personally believe that two attacks without your stacking accuracy is better than missing and then gaining one and then gaining another stack. Also, what adrenaline does, it gives you movement for morale breaks if you need to. It also can let you shield wall before enemies can attack. You can ignore stuns just because you act first, you pass your turn, they stun you or they bleed you or whatever it is, and I guess bleed wouldn't count, but a lot of the debuffs can kind of go away when you act first, which could be again just be a product of high initiative. But adrenaline, I think, kind of guarantees that a lot of your early game bros, you don't need to level initiative, or don't need to have high initiative. And when you're picking and choosing off, 1,900 crowns, you don't really get to choose guys with high initiative. You just get what you get. So adrenaline is a really easy way to kind of make everybody at that level.
Right, but even like 110 initiative, I consider high, and it's not that hard to get a guy or two randomly with 110 initiative. Just even the garbage,
Mm-hmm.
brothers. I do like adrenaline. Don't get me wrong. I think it's very strong. I just find I can still go first anyway. A lot of the times,
Yeah.
um, I will often take adrenaline on guys with high fatigue. I consider those the prime adrenaline candidates because they could probably use it one more time in those early game battles. High fatigue meaning something like 110 plus base fatigue. You can get those on farmhands.
I think
Maybe
that any
that's probably
farmhand has
too ambitious.
110 or something, yeah.
Let's say 100 plus base fatigue. That seems more reasonable.
Because
110 is pretty high,
I
actually.
mean, 100 base with gear is probably like 80, 85 or something after gear. Like, a weapon's probably 8, your gear armor is probably like 6, or something like that.
Yep, it's probably like 80, maybe 70 something. But the thing is, like early game, a lot of times those recruits have like 80 something, 90 something fatigue, and it feels and I might not even want to up their fatigue. Like maybe a guy has 100 fatigue and a star. I might actually want to up their fatigue. That makes me value adrenaline more.
Yeah.
Um,
I found that I rarely run out of fatigue when using adrenaline, when it matters. Against a drawn out fight, yeah, probably, but your 7th Thug fight can probably be over in about 3 rounds. Once engagement actually starts, probably about 3 rounds. Morale breaks come in a lot, and running into enemies, I think, is huge, just because you do the morale check, kill their friend, that's another morale check, hit them at all, you break their armor, so another morale check. There's a lot of ways you can just win, and then you get to daggering, which is, a huge part of the early game. And all that can be done when in a very quick amount of time, so I don't find stam is rare. I find stam is rarely an issue in my gameplay.
I agree. Early game stam is really an issue either, but still something to consider. If you're going to give adrenaline to a lot of early game guys, I think they should be using spears or swords. So first of all, they can actually hit. Second of
Mm-hmm.
all, those weapons are very they cause only 10 fatigue to use, whereas flails, the lash to the head is 25 fatigue, or mace.
Yeah.
Like I think the basic mace hit is 13 without mastery. I want to say,
Let me see if I can check that, but you may be right.
and then 25 to stun. Like the thing is, if you give adrenaline to those guys, they adrenaline once in the fight, and worst of all, they can't use their like attacks. Like so, you may
Mm-hmm.
not have actually gained anything. If and flails are great early game, as we all know. You can headshot the raiders, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, although I've definitely given adrenaline to flail guys too. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it is 13 to use bash. It's 25 for knockout, which is crazy expensive.
right. So just something to consider. Like I think you can't really go wrong picking adrenaline on everyone. I'll agree with that. Like going first is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
I personally just find that there are other ways to manipulate initiative. I also don't like taking the same perks on everyone. I think that's bad because you lose flexibility. I would much rather have a lot of flexibility. So my go-to perks early on are fast adaptation, Colossus, and drone. I think the first 3 or 4 levels, like
Mm-hmm.
the first, let's say, 10 days on the first set of bros, those are almost always it. Except maybe learning for the sergeant because I want that sergeant as fast as possible.
Yeah, yeah. I think student helps. I've been told some math that the best return on investment for student is at level 5.
I often take it at level 5.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see it. I think taking it earlier. I think early game level 5 is good, but once you're in mid or late game, you should take it at level 1.
Oh yeah, mid
Uh,
late. Once you have
like a
my definition of mid game is I have a couple nimble bros. As soon as that happens, yeah, I just start taking student right away. I don't
yeah,
bother
yeah, because you don't
taking
need
other perks.
you don't need that guy in the front line right away, so he doesn't need the HP or he doesn't need fast adaptation or whatever it is.
Well, sometimes if they're really good, I might give them Colossus and student just in case of those
Mm-hmm.
sneaky marksmen.
Yeah, but either way, student at 1 or 2, that's about a fight's difference. You can probably level
Yep.
up in one fight, assuming you get a couple of kills. What do you ever use taunt on your early game fodder? I found that can be like situationally useful in a way to bring down shield wall or just for all the normal uses of taunt. But if it's on a fodder, you really don't care about their life anyway, so that might be a decent time to use it.
I've never used taunt on anyone except a dedicated tank, and it's often not until level 9 or 8 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting idea. I might consider testing that, but I feel like in order for taunt to be really good, you actually have to have defense, and you don't really have defense early game.
You have to have defense if you want the guy to live, but if he is a fodder and he has like 9 lives, maybe like an old build I used to do was like, I think it was like 9 lives, Colossus, rotate, taunt was my early game fodder. So he has HP, he has 9 lives. Rotate, is good for its own reasons, and then taunt. So he's kind of just like a meat, like kind of min maxing the meat shield, and I found decent success with that. Although that was very long ago, so my tactics now have changed. So I don't really know how I would do with that build now, or how I would like to play that build now.
There might be some potential. I don't know. I would have to test it. I just feel like early game, the thing that you need above all else is just stats. And stats come any sort of like fast adaptation is stats. It's attack.
Mm-hmm.
Colossus is super popular because it's hit points.
Yeah. Gifted.
Gifted
Yeah.
is a no-brainer. Shield mastery. I often take that early game, even on fodder guys, because that's if you get a heater shield, you buy one for 300 crowns or 400 crowns. That's 5 more defense. That's a lot. That's like the average underdog value.
Yeah.
Plus, when you shield wall, you get plus 10, and you're going to be shield walling a lot on those guys.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, I love stats. When I was first playing, maybe the first couple 100 hours, I used to take rotate like pretty much on everyone once they get to level 4. But these days, I hardly ever take it because once you get comfortable enough with the game, you don't really need that to save guys, and you just want more stats.
Yeah.
So, like,
let me
I
check
often
my most
take something else.
recent campaign. How many people have rotate? 1, 2, but one of them's a tank. We're looking at 3. We're looking at 4, but 2 of them are tank. 4 people have rotate. 2 of them are tanks. Yeah, I haven't. Like, I've missed it every now and then, but I really have kind of. I think I've outgrown a lot of rotate. I don't think it's a bad perk. Certainly not a bad perk, but I think oftentimes you can use the positioning without it.
Right. The more you play, the more you'll see that you don't really need it. There are other things you can do. The biggest one being just kill the enemy faster.
Kill the enemy works. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best way. But besides that, there are. That's usually it. Like, I don't really have any other tricks besides kill the enemy faster.
Yeah.
There's just so many different ways to kill the enemy faster.
I mean, it's definitely a comfort perk. Like, I would never not want to have rotate on somebody. If I could have a free perk point, maybe I'll pick rotate on everybody and just give it to them. Because it doesn't hurt to have rotate. The issue is when you only have 11 perks, then it does kind of hurt to have rotate because you're not taking Indom or you locked out of taking like something like Duelist or Fearsome or Gifted or whatever under perk you end up needing. That's because
Right.
you're like, but what if I need rotate? What if I need rotate? What if I need rotate? And then when does that come? Maybe it comes, but if you could have not made a mistake that leads you to need rotate, then you see where you could have just not taken it in the first place.
Right. I like it on tanks a lot. I
Yeah,
pretty much always take it on tanks because what else are they spending their fatigue on? I don't like it on damage dealers because they need their fatigue to attack.
yeah, yeah. I very much agree with that. Have you ever used runners for your fodder?
I think very, very early on I used to do that, but I don't bother with that anymore. Yeah, the idea is you send a guy out to try to split the enemy forces, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I found manipulating terrain to be more effective at that, and you get to keep everyone together.
Yeah, I found that keeping my squad together is almost always, I think, better. There are certainly cases where I would want to lead somebody away. Maybe if I'm in overwhelming odds, or it's like my very first fight and I have about 5 good dudes, or maybe someone's got an injury and they're not useful in combat, so then I can try and make them a runner for their last fight. But generally, I think it's better to just keep your company together, especially for morale. Like, it's better to try and surround enemies, and then you get your morale from being next to your own dudes and walking onto enemies. I think that wins you a lot more.
Yep, and for those listeners who aren't aware of this, what Carvajo is referring to is a hidden mechanic whereby if two of your guys are next to one another, they're giving each other +3 resolve, like, uh, or
Hmm.
at least plus three
I think it's
rolls to their
3.
resolve.
Yeah. I don't know where
And
you'd ever
so
figure that out. Like, that's just not told to you.
it's just not towed, right?
Yeah.
And conversely, every enemy that surrounds you suffer a -3 penalty. So if there's two enemies adjacent to you, you're getting a -6 penalty. So the more you surround a guy, and this works on the AI too. So if one raider is surrounded by 4 of your guys, that raider is taking a massive -12 resolve penalty. And if you hit them with a dagger, and I love to do this, like it's pretty much a guarantee they're gonna drop their resolve. 2 dagger hits, and they're gonna like be breaking. And plus they're or not breaking, like fleeing and breaking. It's the second here.
Breaking is the flank, is the second one.
Okay, breaking is the second one. I was right. And
Yeah.
then fleeing is the third one. Often, when you get 4 guys, like if you rush up to them, they're already starting at wavering. So
Hmm.
like 2 stabs and they're done.
Yep.
So I often like will give guys daggers and shields, not as some sort of like armor farming thing, but as a legitimate battle strategy early on. For this reason, if you watch some of the Beast Slayers videos I did where I fought raiders, early on, that's exactly what I did. I also get their armor, which is
Hmm.
fantastic, but it's also to kill them as fast as possible. Like you can do both.
Hmm.
So like early game against all the human enemies, which is like what you're gonna be fighting, pretty much everything because beasts too. Like you win by breaking their morale. That's pretty much the best way to win. And you break their morale by surrounding guys and focus firing on one, making sure that whatever weapon you use like can do at least 15 damage to hit points, so
Yeah.
they take the resolve hit. By the way, the basic little knife that you can get does a minimum of 15 damage. Fun fact. So if you puncture, that's a guaranteed resolve check. Even a basic stab, assuming they have no armor, is a guaranteed resolve check. So that's something to consider. Uh,
Nice. Yeah. One thing I've started doing is actually, I might give a guy a hatchet, and then because early game, actually, I think raiders never get shield spec, so you could break a round shield in 2 hits, which in a way is probably worth it. One guy loses both his attacks to break a shield, but everybody else has higher chance to hit. Especially if you couple that with something like a net. That is a great way I found to start doing accuracy, which sounds something like you would already know. Like, yeah, use nets. But I used to just not, like, bother with them. But, they really are lifesavers.
I'm glad you found nets to be useful. They're great in many ways. Like
Mm-hmm.
they lower initiatives, so
Yes.
another reason why you don't always need adrenaline. That's something you're going to go ahead of that
Mm-hmm.
without adrenaline. You lower their defense, of course, and enemies will waste turns like breaking out of it. Like if you throw a net on a raider with a two-hander, they literally cannot break an attack. So
Mm-hmm.
as long as you don't have anyone next to them, he's done for that turn. Sometimes he's done for like 2 turns,
Yeah, if he
which
doesn't
is
break
even
out the
better.
first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing thinking the last, I don't know, 1,000 hours is I've never broken a shield on an enemy early game ever. I just think they're so rare that it's gonna work to your advantage. Because guys with shields, they usually swing once and shield wall. If you break their shield, you better be able to kill them, like
Mm-hmm.
before they can attack,
Yeah, I was
because
gonna say
then
that because they now get double grip and they will attack you twice because they can't shield wall anymore.
exactly. So if you're gonna do that, you better kill them.
I would say let them
And
do their turn. Let them like shield wall attack. You've passed your turn at that point. Then you break their shield. Because then they've already done their actions, and then you can just gank them.
right. So if you're gonna do something like that, like break the shield, you have to like let them attack and shield wall and then break it. But even then, I hardly ever, or not hardly, I have never done that in the last like 1,000 hours. I'm sure I did that way back when I first started playing the game. And the reason is I consider shielded enemies so unthreatening that I'll kill everything else first, and then I'll surround them and farm their armor.
Mm-hmm.
So I love farming armor on guys with shields. They just shield wall and attack once. They don't, so they hit me once or twice, whatever. It's not a big deal. Yeah, my punctures are 20%, but when you spam like 10, 20%, you'd be shocked at how much you can hit.
You'll
Like,
hit
you
20% of
know
them.
how, yeah, like the characters, like players hate it when the AI hit their 10, 20% or whatever. I have personally hit so many of those attacks because I actually take them in some situations
Mm-hmm.
that like the RNG is not rigged. Like, you
I know that's
just don't
always fun.
notice because you don't really take those low percent attacks.
Yeah, I know, and then it's selective memory too. Of you never remember the low ones you hit, but you always remember when the AI hits you like 5 times in a row.
I remember the low ones I hit. I called them out on
Yeah.
my videos.
I will say I do always remember the bad RNG I get. But learning to deal with tilt is also a good thing in this game because I'm sure I used to get angry. I would like like cuss it out or I have to take a break or whatever it'd be. When you're angry, you're not in a good mental state, so then you play worse. So like you were saying before, is being tired is one way to do it, but being angry is another way to not play well. It's because you just then you go recklessly aggressive. I would think.
Right. Yeah, in many ways, this is my idea of Battle Brothers would be more like poker, but not really like that because people just keep re-rolling until they get pocket aces. So,
Yeah.
but if there were some mode of Battle Brothers where you couldn't reload it over and over again, or re-roll or whatever, then it is a lot like poker. Like you just kind of have to play the hand. Dealt. I used to play poker semi-professional.
Oh, okay.
So the most important thing is you stick to the plan. Okay, it's hard. Like that's why only 5% of people can win money because it's really, really hard to stick to the plan, even though the plan is simple. You just get tilted a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I certainly had that happen to me as well. Like nobody's immune.
Mm-hmm.
That's just being human. But I think the better players are just tilted less, or they can control it more. Like they know to stop playing, or like
Mm-hmm.
with poker, there's actually money involved. Whereas this game, I guess, whatever, it doesn't matter. Uh,
Yeah.
but but yes, I agree. Like if you had to run a bad RNG, you're not feeling well. Maybe load up one of your late game campaigns so you can go massacre some enemies.
Yeah. Let's kick some ass against some day 300 raiders that are as good as day 50 raiders. Switching topic a little bit. What do you think about ambitions? Like, do you have an ambition order that you typically like to go for?
Yes, I always do the friends with town, so whatever that one is
Mm-hmm.
first. That one's real easy. I don't quite understand all of the early game ambitions though. Like that one, I almost always go first, and then you get a bunch of options. It
Mm-hmm.
seems semi-random to me.
I think
Eh,
it is. The first one's always the same. It's friends or camp.
or camp, right? The camp is just not reliable enough. Like you're not
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed to find an easy camp to kill,
Yeah.
whereas you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to make friends with a town early on.
I would like to
So,
just interject a little bit. To get that ambition, don't ask for increased prices. If you do about 2 contracts and don't ask for better prices, you can get it in those 2 contracts. Otherwise, it might take you a basically indefinite amount if you keep asking for a price increase. This is something I've noticed over my time. I very rarely ask for an increased price anymore, just because the relations are worth more than the little bit of gold from that contract.
I agree. Although I think if you don't ask, you have to do 3 contracts. But yes, I think the friendliness, whatever it's called, with a town, like
Mm-hmm.
your relationship with a town, I might be wrong about this, but I feel like you get a slightly more relations with the smaller towns and slightly less with the larger town. Because I've noticed with the tiny little villages, uh, 2 contracts is enough to get them to friendly, as long
Yeah.
as you don't negotiate, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But with the big towns, I'm pretty sure I haven't negotiated. It still took 3 contracts. But
That could be. I can't substantiate that, but that kind of makes sense in my head. Like I
side
can
note,
understand that. Yeah.
I wish like if there were another expansion, that's an aspect of the game to be focused on, like revamp the contract and the relation system completely. Instead of relations with a town, you should have relations with specific people in a town. The game even like shows you this if you like click on the
Yeah, they
relations
have the
tab.
little like ugly people that they show you.
Yeah, they have the ugly businessmen or merchants and the
Mm-hmm.
nobles, like specific people with specific names. I would love like if you can have relations with those people and they might ask you like if you get really good relations with one, they'll give you harder and harder contracts. Um, they might even ask you to like take out their rivals, or maybe one of their rivals will ask you to betray someone. Like there's so much potential there. The
Mm-hmm.
current and the contract negotiation should be like redone right now. Your options are you click on negotiate once or not for reputation hit, which you probably shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
And then you click accept.
and they like accept.
That's it. I've literally never asked for
That's
money more than once, unless I misclick. I've never clicked like more per heads. Never clicked like anything other than more price and then accept. And that's
it's
it.
just not interesting. I've clicked twice, but only like when I don't actually care about the contract. I just wanted to click twice to see. Well, you're paying me 1,000 crowns for this. Okay,
How
I'll
about
do it for
1,050?
yeah, but it's not worth it. Like it would actually be interesting if like the negotiation was like between like 1,000 and let's say 2,000 or something, like a
Yeah.
huge difference. But like if you want the 2,000 crowns, you have to do like more stuff. Like
Yeah.
the mission gets harder.
That retinue
Um,
member is useless. The negotiator, one of the worst retinue members I've ever heard. Where you can ask for more.
uh,
Like I guess, but like I don't even care enough to ask for more money in these contracts without hit for relations. It's like not interesting to me
the
to do that.
negotiator, it lets you click the button 3 times with no penalty hit,
Woohoo.
and
Like
then that's
cool.
it.
It's very underwhelming in my
I,
mind.
I've never personally done any sort of math for Battle Brothers, but I think I saw a post like on average you get 10% more money from contracts, which is like it
Woohoo.
doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, when you could get something better. But yeah,
I will
anyway.
say
No,
there
go ahead.
was one very interesting math fact that I saw. I have personally never done any sort of calculator or any sort of math Battle Brothers ever, but there was one fact that was very surprising. A guy named Turdo calculated recently that um, Nimbo at 80% is as good as Colossus, which I would not have thought that. Like,
Nim- like
so
like
Nimbo,
like so normally like 40 nimble is when you have max gear, so 80 nimble is good as Colossus. That's what you're saying?
yep, that's insane in my mind. Like, that's how good Nimbo is. That 80% Nimbo is as good as Colossus, and pretty much everybody agrees
Huh.
you need Colossus on Battleforge, right?
You need nimble on
Unless
basically everyone in my mind. I sorry, nimble on
or
everyone. You need Colossus on everyone in my mind.
I do probably do
Virtually
that on
everyone.
almost everyone, which
Yeah,
I kind of want to go away from. Let's
but
try
it's just
nine
so
lives.
good.
It is so good.
The thing is, like,
Like it.
in my mind, it's extra. If you need, let's say you need a target amount of HP to be non near death on a Battleforge character. So you either pump HP or you pump stam, or you take Colossus and you get there earlier, and therefore you can pump more stam. So Colossus gives you more stamina because you're not rolling on HP as much. That's how I like to look at it. And then Nimble obviously needs Colossus because you're basically HP tank the entire time, so you want more HP.
So Colossus versus Nine Lives is an interesting comparison in a way, even though I have personally pretty much always picked Colossus. But in terms of raw survivability, I think Nine Lives is better. And it may not be better in the way that you think. Like, you could do math and say, oh, they both work out to about an average number of extra hits until you die or whatever. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care about that math that much unless it's like one of those surprising facts, like how good Nimbo is, even at 80% Battle Fortune or
Mm-hmm.
80% like Nimbo. But the thing about Nine Lives, from a tactical standpoint, that you get over Colossus or any other survivability perk is, you know when it's triggered or not, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you could be in a situation where like you have 30 hit points left. Or a better situation might be like mid game, you have 50 hit points left, and you're fighting like a Shrat or a Chosen or something. You're not actually sure if the next hit's gonna kill you or not.
Yeah.
Like with 9 lives, you can be 100% sure the next hit will not kill you. In fact, the next hit might take you down to 10 hit points. That's awesome. Now you can be 100% sure that you have 2 more hits left. That's knowledge.
Well, I mean,
Like,
I think it's I would be wary of saying, well, it might bring you down to 10 because when you don't have 9 lives, it might also bring you down to 10. So you don't know. Like going
right,
with the 2 hits is a little
but
biased.
but you can tell when 9 life trigger or not. There's a
Yeah, definitely.
it tells you on your character. So my point is, if you pay attention to that, you'll know how many hits you have left. Like my point
Mm-hmm.
is, you could be standing around 10 hit points, but because 9 lives hasn't triggered, you know for a fact that you're good for 2 more hits,
Yeah.
which is a incredibly important piece of information to know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you
The
only need
prob-
1 hit point if you don't get hit, right?
right.
So I guess in a way, if you play conservatively or well or luckily enough, you don't really need Colossus because you just won't get hit enough to warrant it, or 9 lives for that matter.
Uh,
I mean,
I
but
wouldn't
I
say
guess to
that.
continue that point, that line of thinking would be 9 lives would be the superior option because if you only get hit so few times, then all you really need is 9 lives for when it gets hit that extra time, as opposed to
Well,
extra Colossus hit points you don't need.
well, that's going back to the math topic. The thing in my mind that's different is non-life tells you exactly how many hits you have left. That's the point I'm trying to make. Whereas
Mm,
with Colossus, sometimes you're in that area where you're not quite sure if you're going to die or not on the next hit.
yeah.
Like that information is supremely useful. The problem with 9 lives is very simple, which is that you take more injuries.
Yeah, I
Like,
was gonna say because Colossus gives you injury protection.
yes, and that's why I still think Colossus is just the better perk, just because of that injury protection.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, allows you to like do more fights on the strategic map. So
Yeah.
strategically, it's a better perk, and it usually offers the same level of survivability, if not better. Sometimes in my lives, although sometimes it's worse. But it's the injuries thing. Like that's pretty much it. If 9 lives had the same, like I almost feel like 9 lives should have the injury reduction, but then it'd be too good. It'd be like
You'd double
it's
stack them and you never get injured.
well, I would never take Colossus. I would only ever take 9 lives. So you
I
can't
guess
do
so.
that. I don't know what the way to balance them is. I guess in the current state they are actually kind of balanced because one's better tactically. I think 9 lives is better tactically, but Colossus is better strategically. Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and there's some like bait characters or fodder characters actually do use 9 lives like frequently. Like even on 60 HP, they would probably still proc 9 lives more than their Colossus would help them. So there's a really like poignant time to use 9 lives. And then late game, it's probably better to start using stuff like Colossus and just drop 9 lives because you won't ever really need to proc it.
I'm just thinking about this. I actually think Nine Lives is much better late game than Colossus. In fact, I wonder maybe if I do another run, like a YouTube series, I might like start taking Nine Lives instead of Colossus on all my late game characters. It's for that reason of knowing how many hits you have left, and in a way, if you watch some of my late game videos, I hardly even get hit. Uh, so like the extra hit points from Colossus, I don't need it, but the knowledge whether I'm going to die or not is
Mm-hmm.
huge, and I don't care about injuries as much late game. Like you just put that person in reserve, or if you have the Iron Will potion, that lets you ignore injuries for a fight. Or if it's an easy fight, who cares if you have injuries? Like I'm sorry to think Nine Lives is just so much better late game.
It could be if you care about your brother enough to where you for sure don't want to lose them. Like I can see why you would want
Again,
that.
like maybe I'm not explaining this
I can see what you mean,
well.
like how you know how many hits you have, but I don't see how that really helps you late game more than
It matters a
early
lot
game.
against the really nasty enemies like Lindworms
Oh yeah,
or
okay.
Strats or Barbarian or anything that like a man splitter orc warlord. Like I'm sure you've been in this situation where your 300 guy got man split by an orc warlord, but you're not sure if he's actually gonna die from the next man split. Like you're not sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
He might die or he might not. You have no choice but to like send someone to rotate him out
Yeah.
because you're not sure. But if you have 9 lives, you can be 100% sure he would survive the next man split,
Yeah.
which is crazy good knowledge because he's like that enemy, first of all, is not guaranteed to hit you. Probably has like a 20-30% chance or whatever to hit you. So, first
Yeah.
of all, you could just dodge the next attack,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. Second of all, you just know like
Yeah. Yeah,
exactly
that's
how many
fair.
hits you have left. I think it's just so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Or have you ever been in this situation where your Battleforge character has like 40 hit points and there's an Arbalister
Oh
and
god.
like you're not sure,
Yeah.
right? You're not sure if the Arbalister shot is gonna kill you or not. What if it hit shots you
Yeah,
or
if it
and you
headshots you,
don't
you're
have
screwed.
Steelbrow?
Yeah.
Like or but it might not kill you. You just don't know. With 9 lives, you are 100% sure you cannot die in the next Arbalister shot.
You are
You
making a
might go
strong
down
case.
to huh?
You're making a strong case for 9 lives over here.
And if you go down to 6 hit points and it didn't proc, you are 100% sure that the next ball cannot possibly kill you.
Yep. Yeah. I want to ask. So let's say let's say someone's watching this and they go, "Man, I'm inspired. I want to watch something." What series would you think is your best to get into?
Well, 7, 8, or 9, I think I play at approximately the same level. I still think I've improved, like, in those three series, but the improvements are so subtle, it's hard to notice.
Mm-hmm. Which one is your
Whereas
Geralt series? Is that 9?
9, I think
Okay.
that, like, it's in a way the most, like, clean, uh, but in another way, I'm not sure it's as entertaining as it could be because it's too clean. Like I feel
I'm
like
too
I have
good for
to play
entertainment value.
worse for it to be entertaining because after like day 30 it's just all power tripping. Like I just killed everything.
Yeah, well, every
And
mistake I've ever made in a video is for entertainment value. I actually would never make any mistakes offline. That's just a fact. Just want to get that out there.
I kind of wish I like played worse or did crazier things or something. I think in the very early game, the first like maybe 10, 20, 30 days, there are certain things you can't like mess around with.
Hmm.
It just won't work right.
Yeah.
Like you can't like pick student on everyone. Like you can, but things become more of an RNG fest, for example.
It's a
And there's
disadvantage to do that.
yeah, and certain perks are just so much better than others. But I think the game really opens up once you get a couple guys with nimbos, so you won't like die from two crossbow marksmen. And
Yeah. Nimble is
once
so
you
strong.
I feel like once you get to that stage, maybe I should do some more unusual and entertaining and suboptimal things. I try to do suboptimal things by like undergearing my guys,
Yes, wearing 20
but
hats or whatever. Yeah.
it looks so cool though. But
Hmm.
even that, I don't know, like doesn't seem challenging enough.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do challenge runs just to make the game a entertaining. I think it's entertaining to watch someone do something that you wouldn't do in your own game, and b more challenging because you're doing something stupid because it's self-imposed rules. And that makes, I mean, it freshens the game up because it's not the same old campaign you've been doing every time.
Right. But the first like 10, I mean, the first 30 days, if you want to be consistent about it, and I love consistency, I don't like re-rolling.
Mm-hmm.
I think you pretty much don't have any choice. There are just certain
No, you're right.
perks you have to go. So if you don't want to be consistent and you just want to play around it, sure, like do whatever. I can't think of in the early game like the best perks are fast adaptation, Colossus,
Gifted, I think.
gifted,
Adrenaline, I would
um,
argue.
backstabber,
Backstabber is
adrenaline,
good. I think
and
rotate for newer players would help a lot.
like one or two rotates, or if you want to take rotate on everyone for new players, sure, but
Yeah.
one
Did you
or
say
two
dodge?
rotate.
Because dodge is really good.
Dodge, yes, dodge. That was the other one I was getting, like dodge and shield mastery of all things. I actually
Yeah.
really like that.
I think
So like,
anticipation has its own place if you're trying to like bait ranged.
oh, I take anticipation, but not early game. Like I can't spare the
Yeah,
stats on
I
that.
guess you're right. I'm trying to think of like maybe trying to avoid marksman, but at that point it's kind of an RNG fest whether they'll hit you or not anyway.
Well, they'll just not shoot the guy with anticipation. The way you get anticipation value, by the way, is late game. You intentionally undergear, like give one of your archers anticipation, high range defense, and garbage armor, like 50 armor or something. Watch as the AI will focus fire because they think they can kill you, and they're all going to be rolling 5% because they think they can kill you. And the Nimble is going to protect you, like in case you actually somehow get hit a couple times, the
Mm-hmm.
Nimble should protect you long enough to run out.
Yeah. Or take bone
So,
plating or something, and then that at least absorbs one hit automatically.
um, or you could take the unhold fur
Oh
thing.
yeah, that would be useful.
It looks, I love that armor because it looks so cool. Not because
I've
it
never
is
taken it. I've never used it.
it's objectively not great, I recognize, but my god, does it look good.
Speaking of looks, I took a look at the we were talking about the people in the like the ugly people from the cities. They got some
Right?
gear that Overhype has not released to for player use. That would be kind of cool. All
I
the
want
like
their armor.
fancy
Yeah.
robes, like -10 mail or something, makes you easier to hit because it's shiny. I don't even care. I'll use it.
Uh, See, if there's another expansion, I would love if they focus on that. We don't need a bigger map. Like the map's big enough,
Yeah.
but having like more interesting contracts, first of all, like because the system currently is just not even barely a system, and more interesting relations with the towns. The morality system they kind of try to
It's
implement. They
sort of
put the
there.
background.
My newest campaign is notorious. I don't know what that actually means for like in game. Like, oh, people
I
offer me different contracts. I haven't noticed that any real difference. I didn't even
there
know I
is.
was notorious till I looked.
I think there is exactly one effect. There's a certain type of noble
Yeah,
contract that
burn
involves
people or burn houses, right?
yep burning down the location. I've actually had that contract and I've done it before. It's very boring.
I've never
Like
done it. I can't be
you go
bothered.
you go to a location, there are a bunch of peasants, you have to kill the peasants. That is it. It
Mm-hmm.
is the most boring thing ever. And if your reputation is above a certain level, you don't get that contract. So you're
Okay.
not missing anything.
All right.
Uh, but they have like the backbone of
Mm-hmm.
that system there. I would love for that to actually have some consequence, right? Like if you're
Yeah.
goody two shoes paladin type, then maybe get a lot more contracts to fight orcs and undead. But if you're a notorious chaotic evil type, maybe other mercenaries will try to gank you or Maybe one of the southern houses will hire you to assassinate someone. You know,
Yeah, there's a lot they could do, like political intrigue or something would be a really cool way to make you, because you like read all those end screens and you're a pawn. It's like after you retired, one of them kept the mercenary company, but he was used in a battle by nobles and died. But like you never actually feel like you're being used by nobles, or there's any sort of like
right,
grander schemes at play. Like you're kind of the most important people on the map. It feels like at any given time.
right. Oh, can you imagine if there was like the random mercenaries that run around the map, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there could be like legendary mercenary companies, and they would be based on the companies of other players, like a snapshot taken of their guys at like day 100.
Oh,
There's got to be some sort of time limit because otherwise, like people would just submit like the most ridiculous
yeah. I would
mercenaries.
submit my day 900 company, and then it would win. Yeah.
But there's got to be some sort of time limit. It can't be using mods to like artificially boost their stats or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then, like, you take a snapshot of this, and then those are the companies you have to go around to fight. I think it'd be too much. Like, you can't get out of those fights without losses.
Yeah.
It would be like the hardest fights by far in the game. It's just 12 of your guys against 12, and the AI controls them, so they're not as good as a real human.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, they would be by far the hardest fights, bar none.
That would be very fun, though. I would love that.
Yeah.
There is a couple of contracts where if you go and, like, you go and fight, so you have to be on, like, unfriendly terms with the noble house. They send you to fight orcs, and then on the way there, the noble house ambushes you, and you have to fight their own soldiers or something.
I think it's on the way back.
Maybe it's on the way back. Maybe, yeah, it probably is. That you go kill the orcs, and then on the way back, they'll, like, fight you. I think it also
Um,
works for goblins, but I've never had that trigger. Although that
I
sounds
think
kind of cool.
very early, like maybe the first couple 100 hours I played, I had that happen. I also wasn't very good at the game. Pretty sure I died to that once. Well, after a hard goblin contract and then having to fight a full noble army,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
now I could do it, but back then I wouldn't be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that can happen, but I think for that to happen, you have to like really piss off the noble house somehow, because you're accepting a contract, so they're not like
Yeah.
hostile. I think you had to have. I think it was because like I had a guy who was a criminal. I didn't give him up
Oh, yeah.
or something like that for them to do
Mm-hmm.
that to you. But I don't really. It's been too long since I remember. Like I know that can happen, but it's been too long for me to remember how it happened exactly.
Mm-hmm. To get back on track to early game, I think fighting nobles is a really great gear stuff. Like I think there's, thug gear, then it goes to raider gear, and next is probably noble gear. 130 mail, 150 mail, bill hooks, 140 hats, 125 hats. Heater shields and kite shields is huge as well. Like arming swords, there's so many things, crossbows, so many things that nobles get you. And pissing off one house is really not a problem at all. There's almost always a house that just kind of occupies a trashy corner of the map. Piss them off. Then a holy war or a noble war comes. You fight them anyway because you're already hostile. And then at the end, they reset back to neutral. You don't need their gear anymore. It's all hunky-dory.
Right. I think it can be a very strong strategy. The bill hooks, especially.
Bill hooks,
Since
early game bill hooks, oh, so good.
I mean, they're end game weapons.
So good, yes.
And all the other things are great too. I will say in the last like 1,000 hours, I've never ganked a noble house early game.
Hmm.
Early game, the first like 20 days, I won't do it because I think it's RNG. And I like consistency. There have definitely been players who succeeded. I promise you, it is not a 100% guaranteed battle. Like
It, what
they
I found to
posted
do
their
it,
good results. Like,
I did it on the barbarian campaign that I was just showing you. I found 6 nobles and draw them into the woods, because drawing them into the woods brings them in choke points, so it's hard for them to get their line up, and then it's easier to get your surround bonuses on them. Like they walk through a little choke point, you 3v1 them, get your pole arms. Was it
how many
100%?
guys did you have?
I don't know, like 8, 9 maybe. It was probably
But
like
what
day
kinda-
15 or something.
Okay, day 15.
Like,
And
it was not day
here.
5. It was like 15 or something. It wasn't the
Okay,
easiest fight in the world, but it was doable. And then you see 13 nobles and you run as quick as you can. But You can find the really small companies like sub 10, like there's 6, 7, 8 noble companies. You can probably take those at like day 20, I think.
I think so. Yeah, if you had 6 or 7 nobles and you had 12 guys, I agree it would be a 100% guaranteed victory.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming you had at least raider gear, but you're not guaranteed to actually find one of those company, or at least of the house you want to target roaming around. Like it could be too big, or they could have two arbalisters.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to mess with them.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't
Like
necessarily go looking for nobles, but if you happen to find the right house, like I would assess when I see the map which house I would piss off first, and then if I ever see a company that I can take, I would then attack it.
so. If the stars align, then I agree. I just don't think it's consistent in the sense that you're not always going to be able to find a 6 or 7 tiny band of nobles to fight. But if you somehow manage to find that and you have like a faux company in raider gear, then yes, it's a 100% guaranteed fight. And in terms of gearing up, it's really, really good. And yeah, objectively, you're right. You should probably do it. You definitely don't have to do it to uh, play the game well. I have not in the last 1,000 hours ganked the noble house for any reason. I have ganked some mercenaries from time to time, but not noble houses. And I have no problem gearing up for the crisis or fighting anything quickly. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
still due. Like by day 100, my companies are all like level 11 plus
Mm-hmm.
the vast majority of characters. So
Yeah.
like you don't have to do that. But I agree it can be extremely strong if the stars align like that.
I think it's a good push for newer players to try that, because it's a harder fight, so they can learn how to deal with tougher enemies and different types of enemies. So it's not day 90 and they've still only fought brigands the entire time, and it pushes them to what it does. It pushed me to be a better player because I had to fight harder fights earlier, and I think it made me think more tactically because I couldn't just you can't really autopilot that fight at all, so I had to learn how to play a little bit stronger. And I encourage newer players to do that once they feel comfortable in taking a challenge.
That's a good point. I do feel like that point about autopiloting is really important. Like of all the things that matter the most early game, it is um, just spending a bit more time in battles to think your moves will be the most effective thing you can do. In fact, it will probably save you overall real life time because you're not re-rolling.
True.
Like,
True.
10 more minutes spent there, you're gonna be spent and you get a good result from a fight. Like you will spend a lot more than 10 minutes re-rolling.
Yep. I think that's a good note to end it on. Is just play play tactically. It sounds really easy, but yeah, you're right. Just not don't autopilot, especially not in the early game, because when you only have 30 mail, 2 hits and you're out of armor. It's really devastating if you autopilot then, as opposed to late game when you can just kind of cushion everything. So go a little bit slower is probably my. Or go quickly, but think slower in your fights.
Or think more.
Think more.
Like
Think
before
thorough.
each or during each fight, just come up with a plan and try to execute that plan. Like I often, if you watch my videos, I'll call out, I'm gonna try to get this and this piece of armor. I'm gonna try to do like kill this and this first, and I'm gonna try to position these two guys with the flail next to this raider without the head here and so forth. Like I plan those things out and I do that. I don't plan more than one turn ahead. It's not chess. You can't plan 20 turns ahead. You can
Mm-hmm.
plan like one turn ahead and that's all you have to do. And you don't even have to do it that much. You just do it like the first 2 or 3 times you fight the thugs, the first 2 or 3 times you fight the raiders, so you can get their gear. Once you have raider gear, like fighting raiders, you can autopilot a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so for like the first 2 or 3 times you fight barbarians, you like hard barbarians, you probably have to pay a lot of attention. But after a while, unless it's like the giant chosen camp, you can autopilot to mostly.
Yeah. All right. I think that's a good place to end it. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
I think early game is very interesting, and players should try to respect the enemies a bit more. Uh, I no, I don't always do it. It's hard. Like it's hard. It's not an easy thing, but I consider some of the very early game fights as hard, if not harder, than some of the late game fights, especially if you want to try to get gear, like armor out of them. Like you're not
Mm-hmm.
daggering children down for their armor.
Yeah.
Whereas you might dagger raiders down for their, or you want to dagger raiders down for their armor. So, like, just respect the early game a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really fair assessment. You were talking about that with the rated fight that we were discussing earlier. Um, yeah, especially if you've done it before. Like autopiloting is good, but don't think you can just win automatically, because that leads you to make a mistake that you otherwise really wouldn't have made, and that can cost you. I would say, as I will continue to say, try adrenaline. I know we've talked about this at length, but just try it because it is a good perk on a lot of your early game bros. The tournament run that I just did with Puggo, I'll link that. I used adrenaline. That did really, really well. I ended up placing in top 4 out of 4 players in the tournament. Can't disclose how I did, but I got a shit ton of kills in 90 minutes. So, yes, that was a controlled environment of I knew I had 90 minutes to play, but that was all early game, and I kind of kicked ass. So, I really recommend using that as a perk. Like, Adrenaline Colossus Gifted is a really strong early game. Like you were saying, Deductor, stats just kind of win you. You get initiative, you get HP, and melee attack, melee defense, probably some stam.
Oh, that's really cool. Congratulations on doing that tournament. Like any sort of real time tournament, I just would not do well. I would always place last no matter what because by the time I did one fight, everybody else done like 6 fights.
Yeah,
So I
it
would
was hectic.
always
It was hectic.
lose. But if there's a tournament where you have more time, like a month or something like that, and you're just like comparing a campaign, that would be interesting for me.
I will definitely let you know if any of those come up. But anyway, I hope everybody has enjoyed this. Good little background audio. Hope you learned something, and we will both see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.